pleasure. His life's working in treasure. He built the city brick by brick with every dirty, clever trick. He traded bullets for a pen and walked among the powerful men. I am his son, but not his heir. I breathe a different, cleaner air. I read the law, I know the books. I hate the meaning in his looks. He saw a king, I saw a cage, a story from a bygone age. He told me, son, this world is cold and everything is bought and sold. I told him, walk away. There was a morning of the day. They came for him. Now I sit behind his desk, wrapped in a cloud of his cigar smoke. I feel the chairman's ghost right here, a whisper of both love and fear. This heavy chair, this empty room, my father's throne and gilded tomb. They took his life, they think they won, but they don't know about his son. The chairman's ghost demands a price, and I will not be asking twice. And I will not be asking twice. The papers call it a tragedy, a footnote in the city's history. No score settled, so they say, and everyone just looks away. The cops are paid, the judges barred, a lesson that my father taught, but not to me. I learned in school that justice is a wealthy fool's most precious and expensive game. Now I must learn to speak his name, not as a father, but a threat along an unforgiving debt. I hate this suit, I hate this tie, I hate the man I must become before I die. His lawyer said just sell it all before you take the final fall, but I can see my father's face and the armor of this broken place. Now I sit behind his desk, wrapped in a cloud of his cigars smoke. I feel the chairman's ghost right here, a whisper of both love and fear. This heavy chair, this empty room, my father's throne and gilded tomb. They took his life, they think they won, but they don't know about his son. The chairman's ghost demands a price, and I will not be asking twice. And I will not be asking twice. He left me ledgers bound in red, a list of all the tears they shed. He didn't leave me wealth or land, he left a war I understand. Too well a war of ink and lies, behind a gentleman's disguise. It's not the life I would have chose, but it's the only life that knows my name. The chairman's dead, the meeting said, the new man hasn't lost just yet. The ghost is waiting for my reply. trade my law books for a ledger's line. The subtle, unforgiving sign. My father, man, they look at me and see a man who shouldn't be. Behind this desk, inside this room, a scholar waiting for his doom. They see my hands, they're soft and clean. They don't see what the mind has seen. They knew the broad, knew the beast, the unaghast at every feast. I'm just a footnote, just a boy, a simple academic toy. All alone, the sharpest knife that ends a long and brutal life is not the steel, but the idea. Waiting for me to give a sign to prove that his blood also runs in mine. They want a speech, they want a fight. I'll give them something cold and bright. This is the scholar's blade of quiet. Cuts all the doors that they can shut. It isn't swung, it's laced with fair, but there's no on it. Yeah, the scarlet blade in desert. Bleeding plants are dark and patient. Feed them down in fear and sweetness. Trust and sons and loyalty. True, 'cause I want you fight them on the street. I'll orchestrate their own defeat. My first command is not to strike, but do the thing that they dislike the most. To wait, to watch, to learn. For every single stone to turn, I trace the money, trace the cause, the cracks inside their city walls. My father's war was fought with fists and backroom brawls and morning mist. But times have changed, the world is new. You fight with what is owed to you. A business deal, a secret kept for every single tear they wept. The old God watches full of doubt as I begin to starve them out. This is the scholar's blade of quiet. Cuts all the doors that they come shut. It isn't swung, it's placed with care, poison whispered on me. Yeah, the scholar's blade, it doesn't bleed. It plants are dark and patient. Feed them doubt and fear and sweetness. Yes, it turns a loyalty too. 'Cause I won't just fight them on the street. I'll orchestrate their own defeat. They think I'm weak because I read, because I use my heart and head. They think that knowledge is a flaw, that there's no honor in the law. But the deadliest weapon on this earth is knowing what a man is truly worth. And they are worthless. The blade is drawn, the ink is set. A lesson they will not forget. The scholars here. Smells of smoke, the final bitter whisper joke, the Taylor stick, the Irish tweet, the armor for a violent plea. I slip my arms into the sleeve, the part of him my soul believe is still alive, it's still right here to banish all my doubt and fear. It's heavy on my shoulders now, the silent and a sacred vow. It doesn't fit, it's not my style, but for a little tiny while I feel the power, feel the pride, the man he always kept inside, the king, the legend and the myth. I'm wearing my father's coat, stranger in a stranger's skin. I'm learning how to let the monster in. I walk the streets he used to own, no prince upon a borrowed throne, and every shadow knows my name, or knows the man that I became, the moment that I chose to stay. I'm wearing my father's coat today, and it is heavier than stone. The pockets hold a history, a past that's now a part of me, a silver flask, a faded note, the words a dying rival wrote, a single bullet, cold and worn, from long before I had been born. These are the relics of the saints, the bitter, unforgiving taints of a life I swore I'd never lead, the harvest of a violent sea. But as I walk, I start to stand a little straighter in this land. The coat is not just wool and thread, it's the company of all his dead. I'm wearing my father's coat, a stranger in a stranger's skin. I'm learning how to let the monster in. I walk the streets he used to own, a measure prince upon a borrowed throne, and every shadow knows my name, or knows the man that I became, the moment that I chose to stay. I'm wearing my father's coat today, and it is heavier than stone. They say the clothes don't make the man, that's just a part of their own plan, to keep you small, to keep you weak, the silent language that you speak, through wool and leather, silk and steel, is sometimes all that's truly real. This isn't a coat, it's a crown, the heaviest in this whole town. It starts to fit, it starts to feel like mine, a dark and beautiful design. The engines scream, the steel mills groan, the only music they have known, the working man with callous hands, the backbone of this promised land. He asked for shelter, asked for bread, he counts his living in his dead, and the union boss, he nods and smiles with crocodiles. He sells their labor, sells their sweat, for a cut of every single bit. This is a new world, clean and sly, beneath the cold and watchful sky. You don't just own the streets and bars, you own the men behind the scars. This is the Union Man's lament for all the years that he has spent believing in a brother's creed while planting someone else's seed. The Union Man's lament, a bitter song where right has been completely wrong. They fight for pennies, die for dimes in these new and educated times, while the real wars fought in meeting rooms. The men who killed my father think they're standing on a solid brink of victory, of full control. They've swallowed this whole city soul. They own the docks, they own the cranes, the blood inside the city's veins. But they don't own the whisper yet, the long and unforgiven depth of a promise broke, a trust betrayed, a brutal, sharp and ugly trade. I meet the workers in the dark, I light a single hopeful spark. I don't bring guns, I bring the books, I show them how a real thief looks. This is the Union Man's lament for all the years that he has spent believing in a brother's creed while planting someone else's seed. The Union Man's lament, a bitter song where right has been completely wrong. They fight for pennies, die for dimes in these new and educated times, while the real wars fought in meeting rooms. I give them knowledge, I give them truth, the bitter anger of their youth. I show them legends, show the lies. I watch the fire in their eyes. They don't need a gangster or a king, they just need to hear the damn bell ring for a strike, for a war, for a final stand. The power's always been in their own hand. The lament fades, a whistle blows, the way the coldest winter snow before the storm. Before the storm. The darks are quiet, not a sound on this forbidden hollow ground. The cranes are sleeping tall and stark, like skeletons inside the dark. The furnaces are cold and dead from all the bitter words I said. The city holds its angry breath. It's smells of commerce and of death. My rivals pace their marble floors behind their double-bolted doors. They see their profits turn to dust, and men they thought that they could trust, they think this is about to pay at the ending of a working day. A strike is a silent gun, the same to everyone. It doesn't make a single sound, but burns the kingdom to the ground. They send their thugs, they send their cows. The game of brutal violence starts when faced with men who stand as one beneath the cold and distant sun. 1,000 souls with empty hands are stronger than one man's commands. My rival's empire starts to creak. It's built on all that is too weak, on greed and fear and bottom lines, the most pathetic of designs. My father's army was of thugs, the dregs and dirty dregs. My army's made of honest men who won't go back to work again. A strike is a silent gun that's aimed at everyone. It doesn't make a single sound, but burns the kingdom to the ground. A strike is a silent gun, the loneliest the wars have won, without a single drop of blood, just a slow and suffocating flood of silence. He has to come to me, he has to bend the knee, not to a gangster, not to a name, but to the rules of his own game. The market is a fickle beast, and right now it is facing east, towards a brand new rising sun. The silent war is almost won. The silence holds, the city waits behind its cold and iron gates. The gun is caught. The air is still, the whiskey's poured, the final unspoken sharp-edged word hangs in the space between our chairs. He offers all his silent prayers to a God of commerce, not a man. He wants to be back home by 10. He sees my office clean and new. He doesn't have a single clue that this is not a meeting room. It's the antechamber to his tomb. He speaks of mergers, speaks of shares, the way a drowning man says prayers. He thinks my price is paid in gold, a story that is getting old. He lays his offer on the wood, so perfectly misunderstood. He thinks he's buying off a threat. He hasn't paid his real debt yet. This is the devil's parley, eye to eye, a perfect place for deals to die. A gentleman's agreement made between the butcher and the blade. The devil's parley, smile and nod, a final private word with God. You thought you came He speaks my Father's name with grace, a smug look on his pulsing face. He calls him friend, a man of mine, who simply saw a different light. He doesn't know that every word, the vilest sound I've ever heard, is just a shovel digging deep, a promise that the earth will keep. I let him talk, I let him drone, and sharpen my own silent stone. The scholar in me takes the notes on all the lies and misquotes. The monster in me just enjoys the fragile hope of foolish boys who think the world is what they see and not what I decree it to be. This is the devil's parley, eye to eye, a perfect place for deals to die, a gentleman's agreement made between the butcher and the blade. The devil's parley, smile and nod, a final private word with God. You thought you came to state your case, but you just came to know your place. 6 feet beneath the city stone, I pour a drink, I raise my glass to futures that will never pass. He smiles and drinks, a trusting fool. He thinks he's playing by the rules, but in this room, the only rule is that the teacher beats the school and class is over. Time to pay in the only currency I take today. The parley's done, the deal is sealed, a truth that never is revealed. He checks his watch, he's out of time. That shit is mine, the war is won, my father's final race is run. I sit here with his books and seals, and only now the truth revealed. Its ugly face, its bitter brand, the foundations of the stolen land. For every school he helped to build, a rival's silent grave was filled. For every orphan that he fed, a different family bled and bled. He wasn't just a brutal king, he was a cold and calculating thing, who traded souls and called it cost. For every single line he crossed, I didn't just inherit my his gold. I found a letter creased and old, a story that he never told, about a brother left behind, a sickness of the soul and mind, a deal he made, a life he sold, for just a little bit of gold. The man I am, the man I hate, was sealed within my father's fate. Long before I drew a breath, he'd sentenced me to a slow death. This need to win, this need to own, this terror of being alone is not my own, it is his curse. And nothing could be any worse than knowing that your will is not free. These are my father's sins, the debts I pay that never ever go away. The ghosts he made now haunt my halls, they scratch their names upon the walls. These are my father's sins, a heavy chain, a cold and unforgiving rain. The inheritance I didn't choose, the endless battle I'm destined to lose, because I'm fighting with his gold. I came to avenge a murdered saint, but every single coat of paint I strip away reveals a crack. There is no honor to win back. There is no righteous noble war, just the same damn sin as before. He wasn't a hero, he was a man with a bloody and a broken plan. And I'm the final awful proof. The sins are mine now, the debts are real, the kind of wound that will not heal. The books are balanced in the red. And the scholar and the scholar and the scholar and the sociopath, and trawler and the show. The scholar wakes at break of day and tries to wash the stains away. He reads the Stoics, reads the Greek, for all the solace that he seeks. He drafts the plans for a new wing, a decent and a noble thing, to build a clinic for the poor, and quietly just lock the door on the other man who sleeps inside, with nowhere left for him to hide. The one who dreams of maps and pins and all the ways the real world wins. The one who takes the city's fear and wants to make it disappear by holding it. One builds a bridge, the other burns it down. One wants the peace, the other wants the crown. They share a face, they share a name, a terrifying balanced game. It's the scholar and the sociopath on a dark and undecided path. One is a cage, the other's a key, and God help me, they're both a part of me. The scholar and the sociopath, I'm doing all the bloody math. Who do I kill to stay alive? Which one of them will help me thrive in this dark world? The scholar loves a woman's touch. He needs a warmth a bit too much. He speaks of future, speaks of grace, of leaving this accursed place. sociopath just sees a tool, a beautiful and precious jewel, to be protected, to be owned, a weakness that must be disowned. The scholar craves a brother's trust, he turns his memories to dust. The sociopath just sees a threat, the single most effective bet to hedge against a future loss. He's ready just to pay the cost. I am the house where they both live. I take and take, I cannot give. It's the scholar and the sociopath on a dark and undecided path. One is the cage, the other's the key, and God help me, they're both a part of me. The scholar and the sociopath, I'm doing all the bloody math. Who do I kill to stay alive? Which one of them will help me thrive in this dark world? I look in the mirror, try to see which one of them is the real me. The man who quotes the ancient verse, or the one who drives the funeral hearse. The truth is they are both the same, two different masks for the same flame. The fire that my father lit, and I'm the one who's tending. The scholar sleeps, the sociopath plans, the fate of the city is in my hand, and I am not a steady man. Don't inherit land or gold, you get the stories that are told about your name, about your blood, a slow and unrelenting flood. My father left the scar he wore, a souvenir from home, a crescent moon above his eye, a constant unforgiving lie. He called a badger, he kept him company at night. Now I have one you cannot see, it's deep inside the heart of me. The night I chose to stay and fight, and stepped out of my own damn life. It's not a mark upon the skin, it's the place the cold gets in. It's not a memory, it's a map, a beautifully constructed trap. This is the inheritance of scars, from all the backroom whiskey bars, a legacy of pain and might that burns beneath the pale moonlight. The inheritance of scars, a map of hate that seals a dark and lonely fate. You can't escape your father's son when all is said and all is done. You're just the sum of all your wounds. I see it in my father's men, who stand and fight and bleed again. The way they walk, the way they talk, a chipped and broken piece of chalk that draws a line they cannot cross. the bitter taste of every loss. They wear their scars like medals won beneath the cold Chicago sun. They think it makes them strong and tough, that they can never get enough. But scars are just a different cage that fills a man with helpless rage. They're not a sign of what you've won, but all the running that you've done from who you were. This is the inheritance of scars, from all the backroom whiskey bars, a legacy of pain and might that burns beneath the pale moonlight. The inheritance of scars, a map of hate that seals a dark and lonely fate. You can't escape your father's son when all is said and all is done. You're just the sum of all your wounds. A wound can heal, though the skin can close. The memory of it comes and goes. But a scar is different, it's a choice. It's a silent, unforgiving voice that tells the world a single tale. Here is a man who was destined to fail, but didn't. And that's so much worse, a self-inflicted final curse. With the old ones cold. He smells of whiskey, rolling steel. The only thing in here that's real. Sean is his name, my father's fist. The first one on his killing list. He moves like a ghost through my fine. The mud of his own on his feet. He never speaks unless he's asked. His ancient weary face of man. The loyalty I haven't earned, for all the lessons I have learned in books and schools and quiet halls. He sees the right inside these walls. He fought for honor and a code to lighten his ancestral load. He looks at my clean hands inside. He doesn't have to tell me lies. He knows the truth, he knows the cause. He knows just what this war has caused. But as of now, with a brutal and a simple plan to serve the name, to keep the code, till the final bloody death is over. The last honest man, and he knows the way the darkest river flows. He's watching me, and he can tell I'm buying my own ticket straight to hell. And he's just here to drive the car. looks out into the rain, his face a mask of quiet pain. Your father fought for what was his, he said. The only truth there ever is, he fought to give you a clean start, a different life, a different heart. He never wanted you to be a man as broken as you see. Right here before you in this room, he sees my father in this tomb, and he is mourning for them both, a terrible and silent oath. He is the last honest man with a brutal and a simple plan. Simple plan to serve the name, to keep the code, till the final bloody dead is old. The last honest man, and his man, and he knows the way the darkest river flows. He's watching me, and he can tell I'm buying my own ticket straight to hell, and he's just here to drive the car. He doesn't judge me for my sins. He knows this is how the rot begins. He saw it in my father's eyes, the slow erosion of the lies you tell yourself to get you through. He knows that I believe them too. He's not my soldier, he's my priest, the greatest and the very least. He pours a drink, he says my name, welcome to your father's game. Try not to lose. Try not to lose. Victory tastes like sweet champagne. He washes out the bloody stain, or so they think my newfound friends, on whom my enterprise depends. The politicians and the banks who offer me their smiling thanks. They needed a wolf to clear the wood, a man who could be misunderstood. They needed me to break the bones of your kings on their bloody throne. Now that the dirty work is done and this new cleaner war is won, the scholars back, the monster's gone. It's time to move the business on. I am the blunt instrument they use, a savage tool to be abused, and then discarded when the work is through. A classic tale and nothing new. This is the perfect gilded betrayal, an ending to a bloody tale. It isn't done with knives or guns, but by a newly adopted favorite son. So polite, it happens in the broad daylight of a boardroom with a no speak of progress, speak of growth, asylum and a corporate oath. They offer me a golden chair, a cage of comfort to despair, a silent partner with no voice. They haven't left me any choice. They bought my men, they bought the law, they found my single fatal flaw. I thought that I could be like them, a cut and polished perfect gem, but to their world I'm just a stain, a brutal memory of the rain and blood and mud they've left behind. This is a perfect gilded betrayal, an ending to a bloody tale. It isn't done with knives or guns, but by a newly adopted favorite sons. A perfect gilded betrayal, so polite it happens in the broad daylight of a ballroom with a knowing smile. You've been a relic all the while. My father warned me in his way about the dawning of this day. He said the real wolves wear a tie and never ever have to lie. They just rewrite the history books with pleasantries and knowing looks. I beat the gangsters in the street just to face a civilized defeat. The vote is cast, the deal is made, the sharpest stand, and the final blade is gratitude. I sit there smiling, let them speak. They think I am exhausted, weak, a scholar broken by the fight, who's lost his stomach for the night. They see the man who reads the book, they've all forgotten how it looked when a quiet man with nothing left of every single hope bereft decide that he has had enough. They think my skin is not as tough as the old brawlers and the thugs. They've all become so very smug, they've forgotten the first rule of the game: you never ever misjudge a name. They offer me a golden pen to sign my own death warrant. Then they think the war is at an end, a message I will have to say. I'm the chairman's son, and you forgot the bloody lessons that my father taught. You back a wolf into a cage, you only magnify his rage. I am the chairman's son, and you will learn for every single bridge you burn. You light my path, you show the way for the awful price you're about to pay. I don't say no, I just agree to everything they ask of me. I smile and nod, I play the part. I let them think they won my heart, but as I walk out of that room, architects of their own fall. I call on Sean, the last honest man. I tell him my own simple plan. It isn't based on stocks or greed, but on a simple violent need to remind him of the world they've left behind, the one that's not so clean and kind. I am the chairman's son, and you forgot the bloody lessons that my father taught. You back a wolf into a cage, you only magnify its rage. I am the chairman's son, and you will learn for every single bridge you burn. You light my path, you show the way for the awful price you're about to pay. The scholars that he died today in the most civilized modern way. The sociopath is at the wheel, and he will make them finally feel the kind of fear that has no pride. He won't be asking for their blessings. Why? The chairman's ghost is smiling now. I finally understand just how. Sealed in wax, ignore the simple, boring fact. It's not a parley, not a plea. It's a lesson in anatomy. I call him to the old steel mill, where all the ghosts are standing still. The place my silent war was won beneath the cold Chicago sun. They come in cars of black and chrome, they're very far away from home. They think they've come to take control, to claim my city and my soul. They walk inside a confident stride, with nowhere left for them to hide. The doors all locked, the sound of steel, the first moment of something real. They look at me, and in my eyes, they see the truth behind the lies. This is one final meeting, yeah. The funeral pyre is, yeah. No contracts here, no legal probe, just the way the bloody river flows. One final meeting, short and sweet, the bitter taste of their defeat. The scholars gone, the monsters here, and I have banished all my final fear. They see my father's men, the old God, standing silent, standing hard. They see the workers from the strike, the men that they all so dislike. They see a room of angry ghosts, the most unwelcome, deadly host. There are no guns, there are no knives, just a story of their wasted lives. I hold a ledger bound in red. I read the names of all their dead, the men they sold, the deals they broke, the final bit, a whispered joke. I am not here to be their judge. I do not even hold a grudge. This is one final meeting in the fire, the funeral pyre of their desire. No contracts here, no legal probe, just the way the bloody river flows. One final meeting, short and sweet, the bitter taste of their defeat. The scholar's gone, the monster's here, and I have banished all my final fear. I tell them this is not my call, this is the judgment of you all, upon yourselves by your own greed, the harvest of a poison seed. I am not here to take your life, that's for the butcher and his knife. I just turn around and walk away, and let the honest men have their own day. The meeting's over, the doors stay locked, the city's harder has just been shot back into life. Headlines scream thee, turning of 1,000 wheels that I use to fate, a brand new, clean and empty slate. I stand alone, the war is won, and all is said and all is done. They call me hero, call me saint, they cover me in holy pain. The man who gave the city back from the edge of the railroad track. But I just see the fires glow, the only real truth that I know. I had to burn it to the ground, a sad and solitary sound. I am the king of ash and dust, a broken faith and dying trust. I rule a graveyard of my dreams, or so it often sadly seems. The king of ash and dust, alone upon this cold and bloody throne. I never wanted for my own. Glass, he lets the quiet moment pass. He says your father would be proud. He says it to the silent crowd of ghosts that haunt this empty room. He tries to dissipate the gloom, but I just shake my weary head for all the living and the dead. My father wouldn't understand this clean and complicated land. He would have done it with a gun till every single soul was done. I did it with a word of thought, the very lesson that he taught, but twisted. I am the king of ash and dust, of broken faith and dying trust. I rule a graveyard of my dreams, or so it often sadly seems. I truly finally won. My father's work is finally done. I cleaned the city, broke the chains, but only his dark blood remains inside my heart, inside my soul. I am completely in control of a kingdom. I have no desire to rule the wisest and the biggest fool. Settles, the dust is still upon my silent windowsill. The king is home. Winter comes, the city sleeps. The secrets that the concrete keeps. I walk the streets, a simple man, with no more purpose, no more plan. The empire's run by honest hands. The future of these tired lands. My name's a whisper or a myth, the man that no one can be with. I see a boy outside of school who's learning every single rule. I tried so hard to leave behind a different future for his kind, and in his eyes I see no fear. The reason that I'm standing here, the coat is hanging on the door. I do not need it anymore. The ledger's ink is faded now. I've kept a single silent vow. The legacy is not the gold, it's in the stories to be told. It's not the power or the name, but walking out of your own game. The legacy is just a choice, a quiet and a hopeful voice that says the cycle ends with me. The only way to be truly free. Sean meets me at the station line, a final unforgiving sign. He nods his head, he understands. He places something in my hand, a simple ticket, one-way fare to anywhere but here, but there. He says go live the life he gave, the one he couldn't ever save. For his own soul, for his own son, the final battle has been won. Not in the fire, not in the fight, but walking toward a distant light, with nothing but my own 2 feet on a cold and unfamiliar street. The legacy is not the gold, it's in the stories to be told. It's not the power or the name, but walking out of your own game. The legacy is just a choice, a quiet and a hopeful voice that says the cycle ends with me. The only way to be truly free. The train pulls out, the city fades, a lifetime of mistakes and trades. The chairman's ghost is finally gone, he's waiting for a different dawn. The scholar and the sociopath have walked a single final path, and at the end they disappear. The only man left standing here is me. The engine hums a steady tune beneath a cold and distant moon. The legacy is a choice, a quiet and a hopeful voice, just a voice.